A husband had a gay love affair with his stepson, and the whole thing ended in a grisly murder. It's a story everyone's talking about. It prompted tons of calls to police and to the newspapers, and the reason you haven't heard about it is that it's completely fake. It was created by an AI true crime YouTube channel, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of an incredibly bizarre story of lies, AIs, and strange guys. We have all the info you need right here on Scroll Deep with me, Benedict Townsend, the show that keeps up with internet nonsense so you don't have to. So why don't you make sure to follow? It was one thing when AI came for writers. I mean, those greedy people, haven't they got enough money? It was one thing when AI came for artists, you know, those perverts on DeviantArt. But now AI is coming for the bravest group of us all. Are murderers. And I, for one, will not stand for it. You can use AI to fake human creativity, that's fine, but murdering is one of the proudest human traditions. True Crime Case Files is, or was, a YouTube channel that uploaded wild true crime stories. The only problem is that the crimes were entirely fake, created by ChatGPT, meaning the true part of the channel's name isn't exactly accurate. Also the crime part and the case part. Really, the channel should just be called Files. Certified Lover Boy, Certified Files. 404 Media did an interview with journalist Elizabeth Hernandez, a reporter for the Denver Post, who lives in Denver, where the grisly stepson murder is supposed to have taken place in Denver. She says, quote, "Some people were saying, why didn't the Denver Post cover this? Because in the video, it makes it sound like it was a big news event, and yet when you Google it, there's no coverage." Well, it's because it didn't happen at all. She spoke to the local police. They confirmed they'd had loads of calls from people going, hey, what's going on with this crazy murder story in Denver? But it's not true. It was completely AI generated by this channel. As you can see, a lot of these very popular videos, it's all very salacious, and again, it's all fake. It used ChatGPT generated scripts, AI generated images, and the creator of the channel has spoken to 404 to defend it, saying, quote, "It needs to be called true crime because true crime is a genre." I wanted the audience to think about why they care so much that it was true, why it matters so much to them that real people are being murdered. This is him very clearly trying to cover his tracks and pretend that this was some sort of postmodern art project rather than just a way to make AdSense money. He went on to say, "I'm trying to overdose the viewer on luridness, to try and confront them with the fact that they seem to be so invested in the luridness of it all. People's secret lives, their secret affairs that are really taboo." Now, he says all this, but yeah, he had monetized these videos. Also, apparently he was making regular AI videos before, and they were absolutely flopping because they were like, you know, princess rides unicorn over rainbow, and he'd get like 3 views. But then apparently he had the revelation that if he stopped revealing in the title that they were AI, way more people watched them, which actually gives me some hope that people do just have an immediate step one revulsion to AI content, and they'll only consume AI content if they are tricked into thinking it's real. Another part of me is also worried because I feel like I have a pretty good sense of when I'm seeing AI, but it feels like a lot of people don't. Weirdly, I think like millennials and like older Gen Z can immediately tell when something's AI, but anyone older or younger than that is just immediately bamboozled by it, and I don't know why that is. I've often thought of this. Why are older people so bad at technology? They've been around longer. If you're like 70, you were around when the computer was invented. You should be better at computer than me. Why are you worse? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, those were his arguments about why the channel was important and brave. And YouTube did not agree and has taken the channel down, which is interesting because YouTube has been kind of pro AI. Like, YouTube has been pretty open to having AI content on the platform, but it does seem to be working now on a case-by-case basis to just kind of take out the most egregious offenders. I think they've realized they've got a bit too far, and that the platform is now just awash with slop. It's all just Quebble Cop content. We'll come back to that. But this gives me a chance to talk about my 2 favorite topics of the moment. The first is, we live in an age of slop. We truly do live in an age of terrible AI slop. Quebble Cop, we spoke about him in his own episode. He is a Dutch YouTuber who is now making entirely AI-generated videos where an AI version of him reacts to like AI videos.
Wow, that golden rhino moves, dust kicking up wildly. Check those spinning gears, revealing engineering.
He's also doing it on TikTok, and apparently you can't monetize those videos on TikTok. So he's truly just doing it for love of the game, and only he loves it because those videos do not do well. People hate them because it's just like fake him going, wow, a dragon riding a skateboard, and it's like, who is this for? But as the slop machines get more powerful and more advanced, we are going to have to be policing them more and more. Obviously, there's the extreme examples of things like, you know, deep fakes and nasty stuff like that. But also, we do have to question, is it true crime if it's not true? You know, we were just talking about this in the room. Like, if you publish a novel and you call it true crime, but it's fictional, that's not true crime, right? That's just crime. That's crime fiction. We've just looked it up, and you can't call it true crime if it isn't true. It has to be called crime fiction. Boom. There we go. The second topic that I want to talk about that is my favorite topic of the moment is this thing called mean world syndrome, which is fascinating, which is basically where people perceive the world as more dangerous than it really is. It's this modern phenomenon, basically because of the influence of mass media and also social media. You often see people online say things like, oh, there's more crime than ever, there's more violence than ever, which broadly is actually not true, especially in the West. If you look at like homicide rates in the US, have just been going down decade on decade. They are much lower than they were in the 70s and the 80s, for example. The 70s was insane. Like 70s New York, everyone was murdered. It's insane. People talk about London like it's an active war zone. And like, yeah, there is crime here. It's a big city. Bad things happen sometimes. But like, I've lived here my whole life and like, you can walk outside. It's fine. But the way people talk about it, you'd think that we were living in the bombed out ruins of the Battle of Stalingrad. In 2023, London was ranked above Tokyo as one of the safest places to travel to. But the way people talk about London, mainly people who don't live here and have never been here, it's the complete opposite. They talk about London like everyone is just killing each other all the time. And that's mean world syndrome. And that is exacerbated by obviously like Fox News and stuff like that, but also arguably by things like true crime. If you are spending all your time, nothing wrong with like, you know, watching a bit of true crime, but if you spend all your time watching true crime programs, listening to true crime podcasts, you will build up a perception of the world that is basically built around violence and evil that is quite exceptional. You know what I mean? That doesn't really appear in day-to-day life. Like there's a reason why that stuff makes the news, because it is out of the norm, you know? But if that's all you're consuming, it can affect your perception of the world in a negative way. Am I saying we ban true crime? No, but I do think we should ban crime. I think it's terrible that we let that happen. We should make it illegal in a way. My question to you is like, is there any form of AI content that you enjoy? I like the stuff where it's like, yeah, POV, you wake up in ancient Egypt and they've like generated like a whole market square or whatever. That's kind of cool because it's like, you know, would an animator take all the time and effort to bother making that? It's kind of, it is, because it's just like a mildly amusing thing. It's quite nice to just let AI whip that up. That being said, you have to burn down like 5 rainforests to generate that video, so maybe it's not worth it. But yeah, when it comes to creative stuff, I just, I'm very bearish, as they say in economics. I think I got that right. I just think it's crap and it sucks. But maybe I'm wrong, or maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. Is there a form of AI, especially creative AI, that you think is any good? I would love to see some examples. And how do you feel about AI-generated true crime? Do you think there's still some amusement to be had from that? Because, you know, arguably if someone's writing a really lurid crime novel that's really gory and nasty, you wouldn't necessarily judge that. Is it any different if ChatGPT is writing it? Well, yes, because ChatGPT is stealing content from real human writers and then recomposing it. So it is morally worse. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. I'd be quite intrigued to see what people say, because people are more divided on AI than I remember. Like some people do defend it in a quite surprising way. So I'd love to know. And now we come to the secret question at the end of the show. Hey, Crabble Roan. And let's keep it on a theme of crime. Which ancient civilization do you think you could get rich in the easiest? Do you think if you're dropped in the middle of ancient Rome, you could have a load of denarii by the end of the day? Or do you think if you were dropped in like a medieval village in England, do you think you could become the lord of the manor? Let me know in the answers down below. I think the answer actually for many of us would be that we would die within 5 minutes. We'd be like, excuse me, and then someone would just chop our head off with a sword. But let me know in the comments down below. I'm Benedict Townsend. Make sure to follow the show to get latest episodes. And if you've made it this far, why not give us a little like as well? It really helps the show. If we don't get enough likes, Crabble Roan isn't fed, and that's not tennis. I tell you what is tennis, you guys. Keep it tennis. That's tennis. I know you guys like when I say this. That's tennis. I've been Benedict Townsend. I've been Benedict Tennis.